I'm here today riding and testing this beautiful Moto Guzzi V7 Stone 2022 model, or else known as the E5. Moto Guzzi used to use the Roman numerals for the first edition, second and third edition for these V7s. However, this since 2021 major facelift became known as the fourth edition, but you can't use the Roman numeral 4 because there's a V in it, and that would clash with the V7 model designation. So it's just known as the E5 for Euro 5. Now, before we get into more detail on this motorcycle, I want to share with you that next month in July I'm flying overseas to Italy, and twofold reason. The one is to take part in the World Ducati Week 2022 edition. I've been there on 5 previous occasions to the Voodoo, and I have to share with you that what a blast, what an amazing time that it is in Misano. So I'm going to go there, and the other real focus of mine is to go up to Lake Como to find and see the birthplace of Moto Guzzi. Most of you who follow this channel will know that I have a real passion for this brand. I own several Moto Guzzis in my collection, especially V7s, first edition races, third edition, limited edition carbon, the Centenario. So I really want to see where the story started in 1921 with Moto Guzzi, the home. They're still in the same factory, same birthplace where it all started. So please remember to hit that subscribe button, also the reminder bell, so you know when I upload new content, because I'm definitely taking you along and I would like to share that story and that trip with you. Hopefully I can get into the museum, who knows, maybe I can get some shots from the factory and the surrounding areas of Lake Como. Such a beautiful part of Italy. So please follow me and let's see how we can bring that beautiful experience and that trip and the factory of Moto Guzzi to your home. Now back to today. Let's have a look at this stunning Moto Guzzi V7 Stone E5. In previous episodes, I've covered a number of these V7 Moto Guzzis. We've had a look at the V7 Racer first and third edition, riding them, testing them back to back. We've had a look at the V7 Carbon third edition, limited edition, the uncrating of the V7 Centenario, celebrating 100 years. I also did a special episode comparing the two specials from a decade apart, the first edition, which was I think a 2012 model, and the 2021, which is similar to this, the special, the blue one, in another episode. So today we're going to look at the latest model, the 2022, also known as the E5, and the reason it's now known as E5 and the Roman numeral has been dropped from here is because the Roman numeral 4 would include a V, and that would clash with the model designation of V7. So here we have it, Moto Guzzi V7 Stone E5. There are currently 2 V7s in the model range with Moto Guzzi, one being this one in front of me, the V7 Stone, and you get the V7 Special. Now the big difference between the two is the V7 Stone is the more modern, up-to-date looking one, and those guys who prefer the classic look, that would be the V7 Special. Now what makes them different? If you look at the V7 Special, you have the traditional chrome spoked wheels. You have the ribbed seat, which is more classical looking. The dash is not digital, this modern digital dash of this one. You have the dual analog clock with a little LCD display in, and no eagle as daytime running light. For those of you who want something more modern, you can have this with a single clock with the LCD eagle in it, LED lighting, cast aluminium wheels as you can see front and back on this, the headlight with daytime running light styled as an eagle, and lots of blackout parts. As you can see, the wheels, the suspension, the exhaust, lots of blackout on it in the headlight as well. No chrome like on the Special. With the Special, you have two color options, the blue or the grayish silvery look, which has a bluish tint to it. And with this V7 Stone, you have a few more color options, the Nero black, the Azzurro blue, the Arancione, which is a burnt orange look, or this silvery look in front of me here. Now let's have a look at some of the specs on this bike. Starting with the motor, you have a 90-degree air oil cooled V-twin mounted transversely. So traditional, iconic Moto Guzzi. This motor is 853cc, which comes off the V85 Tutor and puts out 65 horsepower, 6,800 RPM, 73 Newton meters at 5,000 RPM. Now that's really nice torquey motor at low RPMs. As mentioned, cooling is air and oil cooled. You have 6-speed gearbox and your final drive is shaft as per Moto Guzzi and the V7 model range. Wheels, as mentioned before, on this Stone is an aluminium cast wheel front and back. You have an 18-inch shod with 100 and a 17-inch shod with a 150 at the back. Light alloy wheels. Brakes, single disc up front with 4-piston caliper Brembo and a single disc at the back. Just an interesting statistic is power to weight ratio on this bike is 0.33 horsepower per kilogram, which is actually quite impressive if you were to work out if your motor car puts out 0.33 horsepower per kilos. How many horses would your car have to produce? Now, what's really nice and comfortable and iconic about this V7, this seat height is such a low 770 millimeters, on the higher level 803 millimeters, and that's for those shorter riders or novice riders. When you sit low in a bike, you feel comfortable and in charge. The fuel on this bike, fuel tank is 21 liters, and you have a stunning LCD dash in front. Here we go. And daytime running light in LED. Now lastly, having a look at her, she looks traditional Moto Guzzi V7. However, in 2021, last year, that's when the sizable upgrades, facelift, the major changes came about on this model range. From the traditional V7, which started as a 700cc and the 750cc, they put in the larger 850cc from the V85, and they improved the suspension, they refined the transmission, they upgraded and strengthened the frame to hold this bigger motor, and fitted a larger shaft drive for final drive. And with this, you have the stylish Italian look, the retro styling, the elegant option in the Special with all the chrome and the spoke wheels, and with the Stone you have the hardier, more modern look V7. So both options are covered. All round, she looks like a Moto Guzzi, she looks like a V7. I think what we're going to do is now stop talking, jump on her, go for a ride. But I must say, first impressions, and from that Centenario I uncrated last year, I absolutely love the look, the modern looks, the eagle in the daytime running light. It's just, it is so Moto Guzzi. Cosmetically, what is the difference between the 1967 and that? It is the same heritage, true honoring, paying homage to this model range from 1967. Let's ride. What I really admire about Moto Guzzi is that they have created a bike in 1967, the Moto Guzzi V7, and they have kept that model going and kept it alive for over 50 years. And it's just brilliant how they've managed to keep this model going but evolving it. So what they've managed to do is marry the two. In today's fast pace and traffic condition, you need a bike with modern specification. What I mean with that, if you get onto a classic or a heritage bike, a vintage, and you've got drum brakes all round, or you've got this really bad gearbox, and you've got to plan your downshifts, you've got to plan your braking 2 weeks in advance with modern day traffic, how everything stops so quickly in front of you and rushed pace, you can't commute on it. Now with this 2022 Moto Guzzi E5 V7, E5 meaning from 2021, the major facelift, the major revamp, you have a bike that has top quality brakes, it has the power delivery, it has a motor with Euro 5 emissions, the the suspension, everything is on point. And now you can jump from your car or from a superbike straight onto this thing, and you don't have to adjust your mental approach. You don't have to adjust your thinking, how you brake, how you ride, how you plan things. You just get on and ride as if it's a modern day bike, which it is. However, they managed to marry the charm and the character of the original Moto Guzzi V7s with this. So you're sitting on a bike that's 50 something years more updated, more modern, yet it has all the charm, the character, the quirkiness about it of the original Moto Guzzi V7. What I mean with that, you have that transverse motor, you have the shaft drive, you have the vibrations, you have that rocking at the traffic light. When you roll on it, it just shakes, it rocks over as you're rolling on. It's got these little vibrations going through the foot pegs and the handlebars, and it's just so iconic, so true to the original. And you can really feel that this latest Moto Guzzi V7 pays homage and is true to the original V7 from 1967. Riding this Moto Guzzi V7 is just so old school. It's comfortable, it's easy, everything works. This clutch lever, effortless, soft, not flopping around, a little bit of resistance, but you can do it two-finger. The gears very notchy, very positive, you know it's in. Quite a lot of travel on the gear lever. Brakes are strong for this bike. Brembo's up front, so really good brakes. And this dash just is beautiful. It's fantastic. Not for everyone. Some people like the classic look, and if you like the classic look, I would say the model for you would be the special that has a lot more chrome, and it has the two analog clocks side by side. More heritage nostalgia there, but I think with this upgraded E5, this clock is just stunning, and this eagle look across with the indicators popping out on either side, fantastic look. It is the, like my third edition carbon, only one clock up front, so you can feel torquey motor at low RPMs. You got plenty power. It has all the quirks of the V7s, the transverse motor with the shaft drive. It's such a sweet little motorcycle, and it's tiny because it just feels like the center of gravity is so low. It's a low bike. Even if you're 5 foot tall, this is the bike for you. You can at 5 foot tall have both feet flat on the ground. And that's what's important, that you feel you're in charge of the bike, not that the bike is taking you out for a ride. You have to feel like you're in complete control of the motorcycle, and that is what's so nice with this little package. It's also the power, non-intimidating. So even if you're getting into biking, this is a stunning bike for you. Now watch this. As I blip the throttle, the bike just rocks over to the right hand side, and that's this beautiful transverse motor. Have a look, my feet flat on the ground, knees bent, both sides. Really great. I'm sitting upright, handlebars nice and wide, so commuting to work and back, or going for a couple of 100-kilometer ride on a weekend, no problems. This is no pressure on the forearms. You can see whether I put them down, up, no pressure on the lower back. And it's just one of those unrushed bikes. Life today is so rushed, always fast-paced, and you want to get from A to B, and this bike is all about the journey. It's all about whether you're doing 50 k's an hour or you're doing 100 k's an hour. It doesn't matter, it's irrespective. You're enjoying the journey, you're looking at the surrounding. When you're commuting, this bike is light and nimble. You can throw it around between lanes, and if you want to accelerate, you don't have to change down and work the gearbox. You just leave it in the gear and roll it on, and the torque pulls you through. You're not going to break the sound barrier or any speed records, or you're not going to be racing robot to robot with this bike, but that's not what it's about. It's about the unrushed, relaxed experience of it. Also, For a novice getting into biking, this is not intimidating. It's not like if you dump the clutch accidentally that it's going to wheelie and shoot you off the back. No, it's not going to do that. The high torque, it's not going to stall on you. So yeah, if you drop the clutch a little bit quicker, the torque will just move you forward. You're not really going to stall, and then you can comfortably go through the gearbox unrushed and just do your thing. Now, even somebody seasoned like myself that has been riding bike for over 3.5 decades, it's just that perfect. You relax on this bike. Look at this. Look at this. It's easy. Bike does everything. It's nimble. You can flick it around. It's playful. It's just what we need in life today, is something playful, something fun, unrushed. All the technology is in this bike to make it fun. You don't have to panic. You don't have to stress whether you're gonna stop in time or not. The cars aren't going to be pulling up behind you and hooting because you're too slow or you're holding up traffic. You can short shift and go through the gearbox and just roll on. The torque is there. You don't have to worry. Lane splitting, as you can see, complete breeze. You think this transverse motor is wide, but it's really not that wide. Finding neutral is sometimes a little bit tricky, but you have the gear indicator up here on your dash, so just look up and you have it. So you can see first gear, short shifting through box, also third gear, comfortable. Should you want to ride a little bit more sporty, I'll show you that this bike gets off the line pretty decent as well, and it climbs up to speeds which will get you into trouble with the authorities fairly quickly. So it's not just a docile little mule or a beginner bike. If you really open the throttle, it will hop off the line. Here we go. Watch it hop off the line. I'm still short shifting because it's a new bike that's being run in, but as you can see, well over the speed limit. There we go. Now the beauty of this bike, it feels so light and nimble that you can really throw it around the twisties. You can follow the line of constant radius. You don't have to put your knee out and scrape your knee sliders like you do with super bikes, but you can just hammer it in, roll it on, keep it on the torque curve, and just have a whole lot of fun. The twisties, look at this thing. It handles. You can just be that 16-year-old that is throwing it in and out of traffic. The suspension, as you can see, I hit a major bump there. Can be stiff, but in general it is well cushioned, and the seat has a lot of cushioning, so it wasn't too bad. The shadows just threw me off there. But commuting, you can see if you're in a rush, you're throwing it between traffic left and right. Just fantastic. I'm having so much fun. And it's maybe being a biased here, but there's so many bikes on the market and they're all pretty decent. But is it generic? Does it have its own character? Does it have its own soul? That is what I love looking at in a bike. Now, just getting on another bike that feels like the next one, and you have to actually look at the badging on the side of the petrol tank to know what you're sitting on, or else riding something that if they blindfold you or put a cover over the petrol tank and you know exactly what you're on, that to me is what it's about. That if you're sitting on this bike and the position tells you something, once you start the motor, the sound of the motor, the vibration through the handlebars and the foot pegs, again, that feedback, it tells you something. This bike reminds you of something, and that's the soul I'm talking about that these Guzzis have. You just know that sound as you roll on. Hear that? It's so old school. It's not like the screamers of today. Look at this power, well over the speed limit. Wow, the speed really running, and the brakes, look, 2 fingers here, 2 fingers, plenty strong. I hope you enjoyed this episode of this beautiful Moto Guzzi V7 Stone. E5, or else as I refer to it, the 4th edition. And guys, remember, hit that subscribe button and the reminder bell, because as mentioned earlier in the episode, I am going to Italy, to the birthplace of Moto Guzzi, and would love to share that footage with you of the museum and the factory. And I'm hoping to upload all that footage while I'm still in Italy, so hit that subscribe button and the reminder bell to let you know as soon as I'm uploading that episode. And if you enjoyed this review of the Moto Guzzi V7 Stone, please hit that like button and give me a thumbs up.